Hey, what's up guys, so Jake here, and in this video we're going to be seeing some potential starter squad players from Eredivisie. The last video we did for Liga NOS, so if you haven't checked that video out, I'll leave a card in this video. We got some really amazing players in the Liga NOS, so don't forget to check that out. And in this video we're going to be seeing some really good players from Eredivisie. So if you like this video, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe for plenty more FIFA 20 content. So I put together a squad of Liga NOS players and I've got few more on the bench as well, so let's analyze them. So Onana is going to be a very good option for starter squads this year. He's an 82 rated goalkeeper with some really good stats, 84 diving, 83 reflexes, 86 kicking, 80 handling and 76 positioning. Along with that, he's 6'2" tall, so it's going to be a really good height for him. 80 reactions and 80 jumping in-game stats are going to be really good to deal with. And the fact there's no more Delict in the Eredivisie, Onana is not going to be a really popular player this year. So if you're building a full Eredivisie squad, Onana is going to be a really good player to go for. And with the basic game style, he gets a +10 boost and it's going to take his stats to a ridiculous level, and it's going to be a very good goalkeeping option in my opinion. If Onana is expensive for some reason, we got Zoet, who's an 80 rated goalkeeper with really average stats, 79 diving, 82 reflexes, 77 handling, 77 kicking and 79 positioning is not bad at all. Once again, like Onana is 6'2" tall, he's got a bit less reactions and jumping for a goalkeeper, but once again with +10 Kim style boost, Zoet has got some really good stats as well, and being a common card is going to be so cheap, and those are the two goalkeeping options for your Eredivisie squads. So moving into the fullbacks, we got some really good options here. For the right back spot, we got Dumfries, who was a popular player last year. He's a 78 rated right back card with some really good stats. It's got decent pace, but his physicality and defensive stats are good. Even without the Kim style boots, his card looks really phenomenal. I've given him something like Guardian Kim style to give him a bit more agility and some dribbling stats to make him a bit more usable. He's got high medium work rates, so it's going to be decent. He's 6'2" tall, so it's going to be incredible. 3-star skills and 2-star weak foot is going to be decent as well, and he is going to be in everyone's starter squad in my opinion. And if Dumfries is going to be expensive, I've got the next best option in Svensson. He's a 75 rated fullback with not some great stats, but he's got really well-rounded stats. His pace is a little bit lacking, physicality as well, but for 81 physicality for a 75 rated fullback is really decent enough. For Chem styles, I would give him something like Backbone to give him like something like 84 crossing and 85 short crossing, which is really decent. Defensive stats are in the 80s. And he's got well-rounded stats apart from pace. If you can use a fullback with a lack of pace, he is going to be incredible, and he's got high work rates as well. So it's going to be a really impactful fullback for you. And if you're someone who really wants pace, it's going to be a Kostop. It's more going to be your option. He's got 85 pace. Once again, the defending and physicality are not the best, but you can get away with that if you use something like a Sentinel, or if you want really good crossing options, you can go with something like Backbone, which gives him like 88 crossing, which is really good. And Kostop and Svensson is going to be a really cheap option if you can't afford Dumfries, but Dumfries himself is going to be the best option and is going to be cheap because he's a really low rated card. And moving into the left back, we got Tagliafico being an 82 rated. That's why I didn't include him in this video. He might be a couple of thousand coins, but Haps here is going to be cheap. Once again, in FUT, he has got a really good card. He's got almost 90 pace. His defensive and physical stats are not the best. He's got decent stamina, to be honest. And when you apply something like a Sentinel or even a Powerhouse to improve his crossing a bit, but personally I would give him something like a Sentinel to improve his defensive attributes, to take him his defensive up to 80, which is impressive, and this card is going to be 700-800 coins maximum. So those are your fullback options. And moving on to the centre backs, we got really limited option, but we got some really decent players. They're very low rated players, so they're going to be really cheap. And the first player we got is Lisandro Martinez from Ajax, 77 rated centre backs who plays for Argentina as well, and he's got some ridiculous well-rounded card. Without the Chem style boost, he has really good pace. His dribbling is decent for a centre back. His defensive stats are really good. His physicality is not that bad as well. And when you put him something like a Sentinel on him, he goes up to be like an 85 rated centre back. The only problem with him is going to be his height. He's just 5'10" or 5'11" in game. and he's got medium work rate, so it's going to be a really decent centre back. Apart from the height, he looks to be a really good option. And if height is going to be an issue, we have got Alvarez from Ajax as well, 76 rated centre back. Once again, really well-rounded card, really decent pace in 70. It's got decent defensive and physical stats, and once again, Sentinel is so useful for pretty much most of the starter centre backs, and it takes his centre back rating to be up to 84. And once again, as you can see for the stats, he's got some really good stats. He's 6'1" in game, and he's got 4-star weak foot as well, so it's going to be really decent option for you to go with. And moving into another centre back, we got Goalkeeper from PSV. Once again, 70 pace is standard for centre backs. There's not really a lot of option. Last year, De Ligt was a fantastic player, but this year, with the lack of De Ligt, there's not really groundbreaking centre back option from the Eredivisie. Like the same goes for the chem style boost as well. Sentinel on him, and he has some really good stats for a centre back. And he's got medium high work rate, so it's going to be more stable defensively, and he's 6 foot tall, so it's going to be a really decent option. So another option for the centre back spot you got is Baumgartel. He's a German player, so he might be expensive for some starter SBCs and stuff, but once again he has a really decent card. He's 70 pace. Once again, the defensive and physicality is going to be boosted by something like a Sentinel, and he's 6'3" tall as well, so it's going to be a really decent option. Medium work rates on him. And the only problem with this card is going to be, since he's really tall, his dribbling stats are really awful, so he's going to be really slow, so you don't want to use him ideally. So that's why I prefer other two centre backs to go with. So moving into the midfield, there's not really a lot of option to deal with. I've really found one defensive midfielder, that is Rosario from PSV. He's got an incredible card, you know. Without the chem style boost, he looks really average. 73 pace is okay, 74 defending and 79 physicality, and when you apply something like a backbone on him, he looks to be a really good starting squad option. You know, his defensive stats are in the 80s apart from heading accuracy. He's got 89 strength and decent jumping for a 6'2" player as well. And his short passing and long passing decent with good vision as well. And he's got 70 plus pace, so it's going to be decent in the midfield option. And the only other player that comes nearly close is Marvin from Ajax. He's got a well-rounded card, so I think the basic game style would be the best for him. He has 4-star weak foot and 4-star skill mode, so he's going to be a creative-minded player. And he's got really decent stats as well. Nothing special, a decent card, which is going to be a really cheap one. So moving on, we got Dusan Tadic to play the attacking midfield role. And when you look at his card and think it's a really average card, you are wrong. He only has like 68 pace, which is going to be a bit of an issue, but when you look apart from that, his shooting stats, when you look at his positioning and finishing, they are really good. He even has 84 penalties, so it's going to be a predominant penalty taker. And when you look at his passing stats, man, those are some really incredible passing stats. And for a cam, he has like 86 stamina, so he's never going to be tired. He's got medium work rate, so the stamina is never ever going to be an issue. He's got 4-star skill moves, only 2-star weak foot, so you do want to prefer him with those left foot. And apart from that pace, his card looks really well rounded, and he's going to be really cheap for an 84 rated player, because ZH is an 85 rated card and he has something like 80 pace. So people are going to be generally preferring ZH over Tadic, so that's going to bring the price of Tadic really down. And he is going to be such an underrated player, an underappreciated player in Ultimate Team in my opinion. And it's going to be such a hit as well. So moving on into the wingers, this is where the Eredivisie really thrives on. We got some really high quality wingers, and the first one is going to be Bergwijn from PSV. He's got well-rounded stats, and his base card looks really good. You know, he's got really high pace in dribbling, shooting and passing are really well-rounded. He's got some really good stamina and strength for a winger, you know, which is really unheard of. And when you apply something like a Deadeye chem style on him, he goes up to be an 87 winger. And this card with these stats, I think is going to be a really good option. Once again, the most problem with him is going to be that 2-star weak foot, so you want to avoid shooting with his left foot. Once again, medium work rate, so 80 stamina is not going to be that much of an issue. So moving on into the left hand side, we got some really good players. Quincy Promes is the first player. He's got 5-star skills and weak foot. He's an 82 rated player. He's going to be a bit of an expensive card at the start, but once the full game releases, his price should settle down quite a bit. He's going to be a really good option. Now, over the years in FIFA, Quincy Promes with a couple of informs has always had one of the really good cards. And even as a base 82 rated card is going to be good. And when you apply something like a Deadeye on him, look at those shooting stats, in my opinion. They are really good. And he's going to be a really good player, and he might be a really good player up top as well. At left forward you can play him on at 7 chem and he would be a really decent option. So since Promes and Neres plays in the same position for the same team, Promes is going to be a little bit more expensive than Neres. That is going to drive the price of Neres even more down. And this card, once again, really similar to Quincy Promes, really good pace, really fantastic dribbling, shooting and passing is really well rounded. When once you apply a chemical something as a Deadeye, he's got some really ridiculous stats. And once again, he's got 5-star skills to deal with, and he's got only 3-star weak foot, and he's a left-footed player, so you want to deal with his left foot. And once again, it's a really decent option, and he might be cheap, but for the Brazilian league, he might be useful in a couple of SBCs, so he might be a little expensive, but once again, it's going to be a really good card at the start of the game. And those two guys are really expensive, and Bruma comes in as a really cheap option. Bruma is one of the overpowered players in the previous FIFAs, and once again, he's got a really well-rounded card. He's got really good pace to burn with, and his shooting and passing are really average. And once again, with chem styles such as Deadeye, he gets some really good respectful shooting and passing stats. And it's going to be a very cheap player, and he's got 4-star skills and weak foot, so it's going to be once again a really good option. So moving into our strikers, we only have two good options, two decent options in my opinion. The first one is Jorgensen, 3-star skills and 3-star weak foot to deal with. He's got a really well-rounded card. It's got decent pace, 73 pace is enough. Luis Suarez even does have 73 pace in FIFA20, so 73 pace is okay in my opinion. He's got really good stamina and strength. And I've gone with a sniper chem star to give him a much needed agility and balance, because he's such a tall guy. He's 6'3", and he's going to be an aerial threat. He's going to be a little slow on the ball as well, so I've given him a little bit more dribbling stats to help with that. And once again, it's going to be a decent card, and if he gets a couple of inform, this is going to be a really good card in my opinion. And moving into the next player we got is Donnell Malen, and he has some really good pace to burn with. Apart from the pace, his card is not that good, so that's why once again we've gone with Sniper to improve his finishing up to like 90. And this card, once you get in behind the defenders, he's going to finish everything with those 90 finishing. And it's going to be a really fun card with 4-star skills and 3-star weak foot as well. It's going to be a really decent option to try with. So that is a list of players that I think from the Eredivisie are decent, and this is the squad I would go with at the start of the game. The only expensive player in this list is going to be Tadic, Bergwijn, and probably Neves. Probably not, And this squad shouldn't cost you over than 10,000 coins at the start of the game, so it should be really easy to acquire. You might even go with someone like Tagliafico once you get a couple of coins. Tagliafico is a fantastic card, and someone like Promes might be expensive at the start, but his price might settle down. And even Blind offers a really good option in the midfield area, apart from the lack of pace, So those are other players I think that are going to be really good in the Eredivisie this year. And even if anyone gets a couple of informs down the road, they're going to be some really good players to deal with. And that's going to be the end of this video, guys. And if you enjoyed it, don't forget to drop a like, and we'll catch you in another team with another league in another video soon.